Good morning, guys. Look, I started to. Oh, the cord's got to go under the door. Not a very good thumbnail. There's some sun tea that I brew outside. Just got out of the refrigerator. Oh, good stuff. Okay. I'm going to show you. I got the wheels glued on yesterday with the hot glue. And the rear end was almost facing, it was facing more down at an angle. That's why I told Tammy, I said the drive shaft wasn't going to line up. I started trying to move it around and it ended up being off sides. This is out quite a bit farther than the other one. And this, here we go. And this, I was trying to put some super glue right here and to glue that, and then to glue the valance at the same time. And the glue was running all over the place, and it'll come right off. I mean, that clear coat is like bulletproof once it's dry. And it even rolled down over here and put a fingerprint on it. And here we go. And then I told Tammy, I said, I'm just going to put it up for a little while again. Okay, let me see. Where's the bag for that? I want to clean up this workbench a little bit. Here we go. I'm going to move this down. I want to put this in a box or something. It's just when I took everything out of here real fast yesterday to be able to do a video. I didn't clean up any of that stuff there. But I wanted to show you a Bob Ross painting that I was leafing through. Put this back up. I was leafing through Facebook yesterday. Tammy, she went to the store and I posted a bunch of funny stuff on there. And I came across a cartoon rendering of Bob Ross painting a happy little tree. And it was a computerized cartoon, and it looked funny, but it wasn't. I don't think it was done very good myself, so I want to do one myself. So Bob Ross and a happy little tree. Let me see if I can even get this in the picture. There we go. I started painting that last night. I think it should probably be my thumbnail. I don't know how much of a glare it's doing. But I painted his face in most of the face by memory. I'm like, didn't he have a beard or something? And Team is like, no, he didn't have a beard. I said, well, he at least had sideburns. And she goes, yeah, he had sideburns. So I went ahead and did the sideburns. And then I said, well, look him up on there on the internet. And sure enough, he had mustache and beard and everything else. And there we go. He had a mustache and beard. And I did this. And she goes, you should add his paintbrush like that. Add the paintbrush on there. And maybe some smoke coming off it. And she thought that was a really fun deal. But she goes, you don't have to do it tonight. And it was about 9:45. And it didn't take me long to do this, about an hour or so, hour and a half tops. And I don't know if you can see it or not. Maybe I'll just set it here. I have to move some of my model stuff. Oh, that one's, the gasser was stuck. And these, I want that to be a part of that. Okay. Maybe, there we go, so I don't have to hold it. I want to do something with some of these models too. Yeah, they just seem to be in the way right now. And that one I'll put back over here. Okay. I'll just move that one there. I don't know if that's centered. Maybe. There we are. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to be able to play music in the background. That would be really cool, but nobody can play music in the background. And I even found some wine all of a sudden. So we got that, and we got some sun tea. And she said, add a paintbrush and then put some smoke in that. I said, oh, that sounds really neat. Oh, there we go. Painting happy tree. That's the only wine I've found that you have to have a chaser. There it is there. That's good stuff. Moscow. Yeah, I have a really tough time reading. And also yesterday I had the date wrong. It was 100 years older than what it really was. And that's because I'm dyslexic. The letters and numbers just like to move around a lot. So it makes it pretty difficult to do anything with numbers or letters. But I can do paintings. I can do paintings and stuff. Now, I need to fix the hair on his chest a little bit, I think. And Tammy really liked them. Let me see. Let me see if I hold it steady enough. And maybe move it this way. I don't know if you can see it. But I did just a little hint of some red for lips. And I don't think I did real good on the gums. But I did just a little bit around under the eyes. But anyway, I said, Tammy, I think I'm going to give him a pocket and put some in his pocket there. That sounds like a fun thing to do. But she's the one I came up with the paintbrush smoking. That was completely her idea. That was kind of funny. I don't like the buzz. Really, maybe just a little bit, just a slight buzz. Anything more than that is too much. So I like to drink wine every once in a while. If Tammy has some money, sometimes she'll give me some wine, and she did. She did for this morning. So I'm kind of surprised I didn't have the wine out doing that earlier. But of course I was sleeping. But yeah, this is starting to come along pretty good. I guess I could do some painting. It's not going to get super glue all over the place. Oh, why is that strong? What is going on with that? I like Moscato. I like to get it from stuff. What is it? This one here is oak leaf. Oak leaf. Excuse me, guys. The other stuff. Let's see. This has got to go up here. Isn't that funny? I've got to clean off all this up. I don't need a hammer out there. Little jeweler's hammer. That thing come in handy to put in tacks the other day. Oh, let's see. Rubber bands. I need that there. I gotta have my glue. I'm sure hoping it's not. Boy, I'm hoping it's not dried up. Yeah, I'd like to work on that with Charlie Mack too. That he came on and said cats yesterday, and that's good. He's got that beautiful calico cat. Calico would be a female cat, and she's been on some of his videos. She's a gorgeous cat, and she's got an excellent disposition. Yeah, I've had cats over the years. They're fantastic. I should move the box and just put everything into that as a drawer. Okay, I'm gonna keep that. Some of my sanding things can go there. Here's some brushes. There's that engine too for that motorcycle. Oh, boy, that is strong for wine. I can hear the birds out there. All right. Spackle. I'm spackling up a couple different holes. I can put that in the box. All right. Got some aspirins. I didn't take one yet today. That goes out here. That shouldn't go in a box. Jamie really likes that sun tea that I make. She's diabetic, so I put just a little bit of sugar in there. Not much. Here we go. This can go. See, that's just that. I got a bunch of stuff up here. I figured I'll clean the bench off a little bit because everything was being piled up in here for the last 3 weeks. I piled a bunch of boxes of stuff up on my chair on the floor. There isn't a whole lot of room. The path is only this wide for my feet to be, and this is all just too much. Just too much. All right. I'm going to keep that out. Some things I want to keep out. This, no. This has got a bunch of little pieces of stuff. Oh, there's a tack. I'll put that away. Everything is in the tight little spaces within reach here. There we go. Keep that there. I stepped on one of these a couple months ago, and that was ugly. I put drawing salve on it right away because just knew it was going to get infected. It was so deep, I had to pull it out of my foot. So, burn it up in here. Take my shirt off. So I'm better turn the camera. So, turn the camera if I'm not going to have my shirt on. It's just too hot for all that. I'm going to turn the fan on. Angle it up. Oh my goodness. Okay. Put that in there. Popsicle sticks. Pen. Yeah, I want to show you a good pen. Yeah, about that story with the Cougar, the '68 Cougar. I was working at I guess I got to start at the beginning of that one. 1986. It was spring. It would have been 1985. Let's see. Yeah, story time with rats. Oh my goodness. Yeah, a little early for that. it was, I was working as a dishwasher at Oogie. And my cousin, Sean Missel, he worked there. He was the guy, the host. So he would, very personable, really good guy. Yeah, my cousin, and he would seat the people. They'd come in and tell them, how many people are in there. And I was the dishwasher. I was they kind of joked about it, but it was true. They had me to like bouncer stuff because mine was the third shift, the 11 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning. About 3 o'clock when all the bars let out here in our area, it had everybody would dump out their salt shakers and unscrew the light above their table and just really act up. Everyone went out of their way to act up and go there. And I had to bust the tables, take it back, and put them in the dishwasher, run them through. And it was always real busy. Everybody went to Oogie's after the bars closed. Oh, boy, where is the tea? Good stuff. Oh, yeah, it's not really very sweet, but Tammy can drink a lot of it and it won't hurt her. So I make sure that I don't put hardly, very much sugar in it. I keep thinking salt. Salt's not the right word. And I worked there, and he had a motorcycle. He had a dirt bike. It was a 175 KE Kawasaki, mint condition, beautiful bike. It was only maybe 3 years old when he had that, and it had a popped front knobby tire. It was an Enduro. It had a headlight, tail light, a tidal. Nice bike. You could ride it on the road. It's way too small to ride on the road. A 175. So him and I, he would drive, and I would ride on the back. And he took us out through Consumers Pond. Move that over there. Consumers. And all this, we would ride like each would have been during the week, but that was like a weekend for us, since I would work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we'd ride that, and it wouldn't hold any air. You'd try to put it in, and the air just would blow out right away. And he asked me if I would buy it. And I said, well, yeah. I said, how much you want for that? And back then it was 1985. He wanted $175. It was a 175. He wanted $175 for it. And I thought, boy, that's a good deal. But it took me a little while to save that kind of money up. There we go. I don't know if that's better. And Whoppers. Yeah, and I bought it from him, and I bought an inner tube right away. And I went to, I was living with my grandma. So I went over and took the wheel and went over to a local garage gas station. The fellow that owned it was kind of nice. He wasn't overly nice. And he let me change a tire there. So I went ahead and changed the tire. It took me probably an hour and a half. I remember on the middle of the floor, and it was kind of a warm day, hot. And man, I've never tried to put a motorcycle tire on. Now I've done like 80 different motorcycle tires, and they're a bear to do, and you know they're hard to do when you're young. I was a young kid yet. Anyway, I did that. Changed the tire out, and for the first time ever, got to drive it in the dirt bike with knobby tires, and it rode so nice and smooth. I thought, boy, that's not. And I had quite a few motorcycles, quite a few dirt bikes before that, so I knew what to expect. But that particular bike rode really nice. So I had that one, and it wasn't long. I moved in with my dad along the line there, and took the dirt bike with me. So like those. That needs to go in its own. That needs to go in its own drawer up there on my toolbox. All right. And I had it for a little while in the neighbor kit. See, that's pretty organized. That box is nice and organized. I'll put that up there. This is kind of a neat thing I was working on. The resin didn't do very good in there. But anyway, I rode the motorcycle there for a little while. And the neighbor kid, Bobby Cooey, he saw the bike and he says, hey, how would you like to sell that? And I said, well, I'm not really interested in selling it because I like the bike. So my buddy J Cakes, here's another one of them. I'm going to put it over there. That's for painting model bodies. And then that's spark plug. Okay. J Cakes told me that his cousin had a street bike for sale, Yamaha XS 650, which I know them by rote now, all these years later. So 1986, spring of 86. He was talking to his cousins. Yamaha XS 650. He says it's really fast. You have to see this bike. He says it comes factory with a teardrop gas tank, and the back of the gas tank goes off to the right-hand side like a teardrop. I said, you're kidding. That sounds neat. And he said, well, he wants $360 something for it. I said, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that kind of money together. And then I remember the neighbor kid wanting to buy my dirt bike. And I knew $175. That's not going to get me to where I want to be able to get the Yamaha XS 650. And my buddy J Cakes, he was kind of apologetic. He says it's not the 79. It's not the Heritage Special, which I've had those too. I've had a bunch of Yamaha XS 650 since then. But he's apologetic. He goes, it's a 78. It's not the 79. It's not the Special. I said, oh, okay. So it's only, $360. 365 is cousin needed for it. And I never saw it. But went over there and looked at it. Sure enough, I thought it was pretty neat. It didn't have the gas tank he was talking about. But I talked to Bobby from next door. I said, hey, did you want to buy that motorcycle? He said, yeah. But he says, my parents will never let me have it. So he said, we got to do it kind of quietly on the down low. We got to, I'm like, oh, okay. And he was expecting, $200 tops kind of thing. And I told him, well, $365. This is what I need for the bike. He goes, oh. He goes, I've got it in the bank. He says, and I can get it out. He says, but that's high. But that Kawasaki was perfect. Beautiful paint work still from the factory. The thing wasn't very old. A few years old tops. And so what happened is let me show you that. The area is starting to look a lot better. There's that acorn nut from my chopper. That thing was really super cool. Anyway. There we go. So he finally did agree with it. He goes, but he says, my dad would go crazy. He says, I'll do it. And it took him about 2 weeks to think about it. I can't just pay that kind of money for that. This is nice and I want it, but I can't keep it here. I'll give you that money if you keep it here in your garage, which was my dad's garage. I really didn't have the authority to say, yeah, keep it here. I said, oh, okay. I guess we can do that. So, boy, Bob Ross, he looks fantastic. I said, okay, you can keep it in the garage, but I need the, $365 to buy this XS 650 Yamaha. And my dad hates motorcycles, so now I went over there and I bought it, and I've got 2 motorcycles now in his garage. And I don't blame him at all. He got in a really bad accident when he was young on a Cushman. He lived on a long gravel road, and he hit a pothole, and the little tire in the front went down into a big pothole, and he flipped over going top speed in the Cushman, and he got hurt pretty bad. And I don't blame him at all. Motorcycles are dangerous. I'm fully aware of how bad they are. So now he's got 2 motorcycles in the garage. Hates motorcycles. And I didn't have a motorcycle license. I was 18, had been 18 since August, and here it is, April of 86. I have a photographic memory. Everything is etched in there, just as though it just happened yesterday. And I drove it, I think, twice. Excuse me, guys. Like around the block. I remember taking it over there to Handy Foods. It was like 2 blocks away. And I'm like, through first gear and about half throttle, that thing would just start to almost wheelie. It's like, what is going on? It's almost like there's a power band halfway through the throttle. And I've talked to many different people in the XS groups, and nobody knows what I'm talking about. There's no nitrous bottle, but it sure acted like nitrous halfway through. Dirt bikes that today have it, they have a power valve. It's like, well, yeah, half throttle in each gear, you you gun it, and it'll roost. It'll do this. It'll do that. That bike had it. That thing was amazingly fast, and I've had a lot of XS6, probably 10 of them now after that one. And none of them have that. Let me show you a close-up of this. None of them have it. It was fast, and Jay Cake's buddy came into town with his Maverick. 1971, had a Maverick Grabber hood. 4 kids got together and built this Maverick for a drag strip in Florida. Here I am south of Chicago, so yeah, the whole teardrop gas tank thing was coming to mind. Like, oh boy, is he lying to me about this? But anyway, he would hang out with all these older kids over in Dayton, Illinois. It's real small little town, probably 300. It's tiny. And he said over there by the railroad tracks, he'd hang out over there all the time. And these 4 guys were older than him. There was like Pete Kiesick. He named a bunch of them. And he said they'd hang out, and they built this Maverick for a drag strip. And in Florida, they would run consistent 11.7s. I've never been to a drag strip. Even to this day, 11.7s are supposed to be really good for a street car. They took an old lady's car that they got, and they went to the junkyard like every day and got the stuff, the 302 engine. They got a 3-speed transmission manual from a grain truck. They turned the 302 into a Boss 302 by putting 351 Windsor heads on it. Make it breathe really good. And they put a high rise on it with 2 Holly 4-barrel. I don't know. The thing was absolutely a raped animal. And this kid across about 3 blocks away wanted to buy it from this guy who's from the Army. He just, came into town for about a month or so. He was on furlough. He was on vacation. Big, strong guy, Chris Hewen, I guess was his name. And he would walk all the way around their block over there on his hands. It's like, man, this guy's not only strong, but he's tough. But he had this Maverick Grabber. It was about 15 different colors on the driver's side and 25 different colors on the passenger side. It originally had been red, and they built the car, and it had 4 lugs because it was a straight 6 with an automatic. They tore all that out. They got all the parts from the junkyard from these different Mavericks. So they went to the beefier suspension, the 5 lug stuff. And I mean, that car was pretty amazing. Yeah, they made the Boss 302. And they had the Hurst Indy Lightningrod. But man, I'll tell you what, they never broke the engine in the right way. Smoked like crazy. The rings didn't seat. They put it together, and then they would make their run down the drag strip. And man, I'll tell you what, that car was fast. Well, the kid was supposed to buy it. Blank Beals. He was supposed to buy it, and he went up to one of those parking cement deals, and he popped the clutch, and it went over it, and it banged out the oil pan plug. Started dumping oil all over the place. He's like, he came over to my house. He says, Rob, he says, you know what? He says, can I trade you the Maverick for your Yamaha? He rode it. He loved that Yamaha. It was amazingly fast, like his Maverick was. And he said this Blair, he was supposed to buy it yesterday, but he jumped over the parking berm, and it's over there at Jay Cake's house. You fix it, you do whatever, but he says, I'll make it a trade. And I said, oh, yeah, in a heartbeat. My dad hates motorcycles, and I can't drive it. I can't do anything with it. I can stare at it, I guess, and wait to get my license. So I went ahead and I did the trade. Then I took it over to my dad's work. He was a bookkeeper over there at Lisa County Asphalt. It was a big asphalt company, road construction. He'd been there since well before it was even then. It was J.P. Weatherby when my dad started there before I was born. So I drove it over there, and it pulled in the parking lot. His window was right there. He could see it. Me and Jay Cakes, we drove it over there. I drove it. Jay Cakes was on the passenger side. And my dad, Robbie, what are you doing? What are you doing? That thing looks like junk. Why would you do that? I said, I don't know. I knew he didn't like motorcycles, so I went ahead and got this one. I got this car. I said, this would be about the only person that would ever trade me something for that motorcycle that I could use. So he gave me the money to legalize it. And sure enough, he was the first one to ever buy, my dad was the first one to buy the very first, not the first produced, because it could be, 10th down the list or whatever, but he was the very one to ever buy a Mustang Fastback before the Mustang Fastback was introduced to the public, ever. So that's this guy. He was doing drag races and winning, and he'd have, I think it was like six different roadblocks he had up for him with their shotguns out and everything. My dad always stopped. They'd have their shotguns out. They had roadblocks and everything else set up for him. 6 different times he would street race, drag race with this Mustang Fastback before it was ever even introduced to the public. It was white, a GT, had Mustang along the bottom, or GT stripe along the bottom. It was Wimbledon white with a red interior. And it was the first Mustang Fastback ever saw. Very, very, very fast. He said, Robbie, let me take that thing for a ride. So I got in the passenger seat, and he just drove it around the block. But it was a white knuckle ride, just as fast as that thing would go. Scary as shit from the passenger side. And you ain't got nothing to grab onto, no steering wheel, no nothing like that. Very fast. And went just around the block, and it was a fancy neighborhood. I mean, you don't act up like that in that particular neighborhood. And got back to the house. He said, "Oh yeah, I like it," but he didn't say anything else. The next day, when he got off work, he brought me a pint or a quart. He brought me a quart of Rust-Oleum Pon Yellow. And I don't have my brushes in here, so I can't show you, but he brought me them sponge on a stick. They were that wide, sponge on a stick. About 6 of those. So me, the girlfriend, she lived next door. The kid that bought the dirt bike, his sister. She was my girlfriend, and then Jay Cakes, me, and like 3 other people of the neighborhood. I sanded down the car. I put Bondo in a couple different places. There was above the A pillar on the driver's side, there was a place where Bondo had popped out or something. But anyway, I put Bondo in there, and that's all I did. I didn't sand it, didn't do anything. But he bought me Pon Yellow, and me and all the kids in the neighborhood, it was 90-something degrees that day, 100 degrees. And we painted it in the direct sun. Each person took a panel and painted it Pon Yellow. Now I should use that car and that picture as my thumbnail for this, I think, this video. And I'll probably change it to that. And they had switched over the carburetors to a 4-barrel. I would guess it was a Holly, and it wasn't a high rise anymore. In the heads were 351 Windsor, and Jay Cakes got it wrong. He says, "Oh, they put Cleveland heads on." Well, you can't put Cleveland heads on a 302, Dale. But okay, so they switched it over from the drag strip stuff. It was honked on too much gas. It honked on too much gas for a kid like me that didn't really have too good of an income other than working at Oogie. By this time, I didn't work at Oogie's anymore. I worked at Ponderosa as a busboy dishwasher, so it didn't make any real money. We'd go cruising. We took the car, and Dad liked it, so next day he went to Sherwin-Williams or whatever. He went over there to this paint place, bought me a quart of Pon Yellow. We painted it, looked great. Melted all the brush streaks, and it looked amazing from 5 feet away. Bright yellow color. It wasn't yellow. It was like yellow if you add a bunch of white to it. That's what it was. So it was a very pale yellow. So I had the car, got in all sorts of trouble. Just crazy trouble with the car. I'd get pulled over. Wheels are sticking out too far in the back. Your car's jacked up 2 feet too high, 2 feet out of regulation. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to put that as my thumbnail because it's kind of hard to put it into perspective. My mom wanted to see me, so I drove it up there to Chicago area. She lived in Aurora. So I went up there to Aurora. It had an electric fuel pump in the wheel well. It was on the driver's side, rear well of the driver's side. The thing was burning hot. You couldn't touch it. Drove it so far, and I was off the side of the road. I remember just going up there to see my mom was like way too tough to do. But it took me hours and hours. And I finally got up there. And when I got there, My stepdad's ex-stepson, Dave Hans, was there. Hans. Hans, I think. Hans. Anyway, they always call him Dave Hans. And he said, oh, cool. He says, I want to try that. So he got the keys. And it's an apartment complex, a lot like this here. I mean, you can't really mess around there. You can't jack around too much. Anyway, he backs up to the fence in between the rows of cars on each side that park to go to the apartments. He backed it up and just floored it. Dropped the clutch. I'm standing here. And this car went straight vertical. And they got flexa tubing going to each rear wheel with thrush cherry bombs aimed at each rear tire, flames coming down to each wheel in between the row of cars. And I'm like, wow, I own a car that can do that. What? So he beat the shit out of it. He didn't hurt it. He just tronced the snots out of it. He's got no skin in the game. He hurt, or was trying to hurt the car. So I took it home. I don't remember it ever stopping on the way home and heating up the fuel pump or anything. Just did it like 4 times on the way there, but it didn't do it on the way home. And when I knew that car could do that, I'm like, oh my goodness. I was cruising the first night after that. The first Friday after I came back home from my mom's. And make the circuit, you got to go right next to the downtown courthouse in Ottawa. Billy Lockridge had his Chevy van, short wheelbase, gorgeous van. Cool guy too. So he went to the stop sign and just smoked off the rear right wheel as he went around the corner. A right-hand turn. They're at the courthouse. And the 2 chicks I picked up, one was in the back seat, and Liz Fast, her name was Fast. Liz Fast is in the passenger side. She says, can you do that? I said, whoa. I said, and I'm rolling up to the stop sign. I said, Billy Lockridge, I said, he smoked off one rear tire. I said, what do you want me to do? 2 or 4? He goes, what do you mean 4? And the girl from the back seat, how can you do that? I said, watch this. Had it in first, just floored it when a red line, boom, right up into a wheelie because I knew I could do it. Spun the little steering wheel and it put the tires off to a lock like this, and as it came down, bang, it almost went right through the picture window at Little City Music, almost smashed the drum set right in the window, almost. These tires were squalling off, and tire smoke was coming over the top of the hood. I started to turn as I was hitting the sidewalk. And I knew all 4 of them were lit up. Just knew it. I mean, you can't run a car like a raped animal like that and not be completely, you have fun with it. So here it is. And started really catch before I went through Little City Music. Started skating around. Well, here Billy Lockridge, as a van, stopped at a red light. I didn't realize any of that, so I had to negotiate fast and quick. And my reflexes are so fast. I'm retarded as a mofo, but yeah, my reflexes are amazingly fast. I went sliding past Billy Lockridge in the parking lane that would have been there. I wonder what that's all about. And slid through the red light, and there's cherries on me immediately. This bright yellow Maverick, jacked up, way too stinking. I got pulled over all the time. Gotta measure this, gotta measure that. Mr. Lucas, this and that. Anyway, and skating past him. He was at the red light. Went around him and got pulled over immediately. The two girls, Cindy, I can't say Clark, Cindy something, Liz Fast's best friend and her got out of the car, and they joined up with a whole bunch of people that were standing there. Hey, did you see that? Wow, that's cool. The cop comes up to my door. Mr. Lucas, and I can hear him. By the time he got the back of the car. Mr. Lucas, I can't think of any good reason why you just did what you did. And I says, I can't either right now. I said, but give me a minute, I'll come up with something. That made Officer Dave, or Officer Haas, Haas, Officer Haas and me best friends. Made us best friends from there on out. Well, that didn't happen. Why I shouldn't give you a $500 ticket with reckless driving and give you a felony and throw your ass in the jail, blah, 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 blah. All righty. Okay. And it was a stupid move, but there it is. I was an 18-year-old kid with a really fast car. I'd have to say it was probably the fastest car around. And I had an ex-girlfriend says, "Oh no, Cherry Coke, this Nova had 450 foot, this and that." But I'm telling you, that engine combination with that light car, oh my goodness, that thing would drink Cherry Coke and probably spit it back at you. And it wasn't quite a John Milner yellow. It was pale. It just add a little bit of white to it, that pon yellow. Anyway, I had that car, and I'm trying to get this whole story is how I got that Cougar that I sold for a $10 bill. It's to go back to what my last video was. Anyway, 1986, let's see. 1986. Hey, Frostbite, what you doing? You got my door open. Little kitten. The kitten with the glue thing. Oh, all right. You want to be on camera for a minute? Because you're not much of a kitten anymore. Big guy. All right. Ooh, hey, watch out. Oh, there he run. He run away. He pulled all the cords. Let's just hope the camera still works. So, hey, Slipshot, what are you doing? Oh, he's purring like crazy. Purred like a kitten to the lake construct. That's my little buddy. He's just a little kitten still. What a cutie. No. So, what have we got? Intermission? That's what's going on here? Oh, no. He's cute. Yeah. How you doing there, Slipshot? Jamie loves his little whiskers. To like Fu Manchu, they're bent and they go down, and oh my goodness. I call him portly. Portly. He's a little bit big there in the belly. So anyway, I have this Maverick. Burns oil like a mofo. Oh man, it goes through gas pretty bad too. It's very unaffordable to a kid my age at that time. And it's nothing but trouble. I've got the cops after it. I get pulled over all the time. It's like, oh my goodness. I start dating a girl, Stephanie. She changes her last name while I'm dating her. Changes her name from Stephanie Wolf to Stephanie Masato to her mom's maiden name because she hates her dad. This and that. I don't ask why. Anyway, downtown Ottawa, Friday night. Here busting around. Hi. Busting around the corner. Came these 6 guys with my girlfriend. And they're like, we're gonna destroy your car and you, and not necessarily in that order. I said, oh, that sounds wonderful. And what I heard, and I got a photographic memory if it gets in there. If it doesn't get in there, I'm not gonna remember it right. I'll always remember it wrong. Oh boy, sounded like he said the Misty Kings. So for 20 years, I always thought, well, the Misty Kings gang was gonna mess up this car. My girlfriend, she was, just a wonderful thing. So anyway, okay, watch out, Slipshot. Are you watching? I just saw it moving around. I thought, oh, it's not even recording. Okay, baby, thank you. So now a gang's out to destroy the car and me, and not necessarily in that order. The Misty Kings, whatever they are, I have no idea. But I know for sure that my girlfriend can direct them to my dad's house and pretty much screw up the car. So I was out to get rid of the car pretty quick. Whatever way I could, just got to get rid of it. Love the car. Everything about the car. Neat car. Fun times. But yeah, the cops are after it. There's a gang after it, and they all pretty much suck. So I ran into Mike Sherrick. Okay, that's just coming to mind. Mike Sherrick. Anyway, he's got a really gorgeous. At night, it looks like it's white. 1968 Cougar, mint. Absolutely perfect. I run into him and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll trade you even up for the Maverick. He's like, for that piece of shit? Smokes? I said, drive it. Once you drive it, oh, you fall in love with it. He drove it a few blocks away and you hear, and just fly back. He says, yeah. He says, okay, I'll trade you the car. And I told him, I said, well, you got to keep it off the road. He lives like almost downtown. I said, the Cougar was on the road in downtown. I said, you're not going to be able to keep it here because Misty Kings are going to pretty much screw it up. Going to destroy the car. So we made the trade. He said, well, he said, the Cougar, just beautiful, just absolutely spotless, except for I think it had a small tear on the bottom of the driver's seat. 3-tone interior, gorgeous. It looked white, but it wasn't white. It was just a hair off. You put something white, like a white sheet of paper next to the car, and you could tell it was just a shade off blue. But anyway, I always, you're the guy with the white Cougar, right? Anyway, we made the trade. It was a bad tranny. You got to have a transmission for this car. C4 transmission, automatic. That takes all the fun right out of it for me. And it's slipping. Well, cool. That's great. So I get this mint Cougar. Absolutely stunning. Use it as a work car. I went downtown the first night that I had it. Because I always saw it parked at Washington Park, downtown Ottawa. Well, I went and I was parked downtown Ottawa at Washington Park. On the other side, over there by the Roxy Theater. So it wasn't exactly where he would always park it, on the Lafayette Street side. I parked it a little bit over there by where they used to have a popcorn wagon, old wagon. And you hear, he drove by on the other side, just smoke bellowing in the air. Half of it was the engine. The other half was the tires. And 5 cop cars all flying after him, thinking it was me. So they arrested this guy. I don't know what he did, a couple blocks earlier, but they pulled him over right there outside of Jimbo's Texaco. And come on, Slipshot, you got to go out there. Bye. Oh, so he flops down, wants to get petted under his belly. Oh, he's way too cute. So they arrested him. Car stayed on the road. He stayed in there a week, like they were. Dave Haas threatened me that they were going to do to me. And they gave him a reckless driving charge, $500 fine, felony, whatever. But anyway, he got out. A week later, he called me up. He says, hey, if you want to undo the deal, he says, why would you do that to the car? I said, what are you talking about? He says, someone poured strip tease paint stripper all over the car, smashed out all the windows, and then when I drove it home, it fried the motor because they put sugar in the gas tank. I said, whoa, hold on. I said, I didn't do any of this. I said, you have to hide the flipping car. I said, you can't have it downtown. You can't have it downtown Ottawa for a week. I said, there's some Misty Kings. They're looking for it. And And that's why I got rid of it. I got rid of the girlfriend, got rid of the car. Yeah, there you go. He was pissed at me. And here I had a car that had such a slip in transmission. He wouldn't drive the car. It was parked outside of his house. I use it as a work car to get back and forth. And it was in and out of the valley. And oh, what an incline and everything else. And so I knew I had to replace the C4 trans. I just had to when I got the car. But the car was gorgeous. And when I say gorgeous, I mean absolutely stunning, perfect. There was a tear across the driver's seat. I bought seat covers. This thing was amazing. I chromed out the motor, painted everything else, just really made it nice. Had a 302 in it. It wasn't anything real strong or anything. It wasn't a 302 like I had in the Maverick. So I knew it needed a trans. So I took the stereo that I still had from the Maverick and I traded it. It was a Super Tuner 3. I traded that whole kick-ass system. I used to listen to Savoy Truffle in the Maverick. Listen to Badlands, which was AC/DC Flick of the Switch in the Maverick. Killer sound system. I traded that for a C4 transmission that was in my buddy's yard. He says, "Oh man, that's a great tranny." I love that when people say, "Oh, that's a great one." Anyway, I changed it out. I drove it back and forth to work at Ponderosa. Finally, I got to the point where I was going to make a deal where I was going to trade the 68 Cougar for a 1971 Montego something. It had Moroso head cover. Anyway, you pop the hood. It had anodized blue Moroso. It was fast. It was at Mr. Podium's house. It was in Newark, Norway, Illinois. I said, "Sir," I said, I can't really drive my car too many places. He says, "No, I want that particular car. I want that car." He says, "If you can bring it to me." So I brought it to him. Didn't want to make the trade. He said, "The trans is slipping too much." I said, I told you it's going to make it here, but it's not going to make it anywhere else. All of a sudden, Jackalbait says that, deal fell through. So anyway, we got that going on, and it is 60 below wind chill out there in the country at Jackalbait's yard. Wind chill being 60 below zero. It was blowing underneath the car as me and J Cakes changed the transmission. I'm glad that he's as big and strong as he was because he lived in the tranny in the place. But I'll tell you what, that was cold. That was probably the coldest I've ever been in my life. Was underneath that car, that cold, middle of winter, at the beginning of late 86, very early 87. So, Mr. Podium's house, I'm out there. Me and J Cakes, we got, all the quarts of fluid, training fluid, all that we're going to need. Anyway, get out there. Freezing cold. I've never changed an automatic transmission before, but it's a good one because I just traded a killer stereo for it. It was in the middle of a weird guy's yard, but he was a Ford guy. My dad's always been a Ford guy. Everybody's a Ford guy that I've ever known. And put it in, got it home, drove great, strong, shifted gears, boom, boom, boom. Third gear, nice, strong. Everything shifted great. Got it home, put it in park. Couldn't get it out of park to go into reverse. I had something messed up with the linkage. It was as cold as it was. Of course, you're going to have something messed up with the shifter linkage on a floor shifter. It's gonna happen. I put in how many engines in my life? Yeah, since then, that's gonna happen. My dad talks to a tow company, nice chop shop tow company. Dudes went to prison how many times for chop shop? Got it over there to the guy, and you need a new transmission. So my dad paid for a transmission, got all pissed off, got it back, mint, perfect, shifting, which had never shifted before, ever, and never shifted. The whole time I owned it, which was like, I don't know, 4 months, whatever it was. Drove it back and forth as a work car, just peppered just real softly on the engine. The engine was amazing. Anyway, got a tranny in it. Dad was pissed off. He had me buy his boss's son's 78 T-Bird, good car by the way, for $50. Bought that car, and the second I had that car, he's like, sell that Cougar today. Wait a minute. It starts to me, the bloodline of that starts out with the dirt bike, then the XS 650. That was a hyper spastic motor scooter. Maverick that would absolutely beat the band. And then I got to get rid of this Cougar 68, beautiful. And now it's perfect. And I've never had that car perfect until right now. Sell it today. Well, I said, the only one. I said, Dad, the only one that wants it is Brian Vignacchi. He said, well, then you better go see him. He said, because you need installation on a car. Not installation on a car. What is that? I don't know. Not insulation on the car. That's a wrong word. Anyway, the whole deal was, anyway, I went out there, saw Brian Vignacchi out there out in the country. He says, not good. He says, just not good. He says, right now I got $10 for you. So I signed the title over. He said, come see me Friday on my payday. Okay. So I got a $10 bill. And then that next Friday, on payday nonetheless, I got a $5 bill. And this car, the bloodline was, I just had a fortune wrapped up and everything. And the Maverick Grabber. Oh, man, I'd love to have that car back with the Boss 302. Anyway, we're not really going to get into too much of that all. Just that car was amazing. The Maverick was. But I got a whole $10 bill and then the $5 bill. So that's good, right? Yeah, so that's good. So that's the story behind behind that one. Okay, so there we go. That's empty. And I got probably a sip left. But I have to leave you at this time. And Tammy's not happy. Looks like she just woke up. But anyway, I didn't want to just leave that last video kind of open like it was. I want to give you a little bit of background insight while I clean up my work area. But anyway, that's that about that. So, so there's that. Have a great day, guys. Have a good Thursday. Okay. Bye-bye.